Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing this beautiful morning? It is Thursday. Morning, Mr. Ed Durbin, Mr. Robin, Mr. Nick, Mr. Pete. Got the whole crew here early this morning. Thank you guys for getting up and talking knives with me this morning. I appreciate it. Did Ed answer my question earlier? Oh, it came from Cole. Um, so Mr. asked the first question. The knife on the logo is just a random knife. Just an imaginary knife. Never reach for a whistle while moving a jet engine on a dolly. All right. Oh, dang. Mister's all up on the news. Somebody just died doing that. Huh. Aviation talk this morning. Morning, Mr. Tommy. So, as I'm sure most of you have seen, why is the chat? Oh, it is working. As you can see, if you've looked at my page, my YouTube page, you probably know what knife I've been carrying throughout the day yesterday and tonight, during the night. And that is the Asgard. It came in yesterday, and it is as sexy as anticipated. Super cool, super cool. Y'all know I'm not a huge fan of Tontos, but the way these grinds all come together at this exact point right here, super clean, very subtle. You know, it doesn't have the drastic. I mean, it does, but somehow it pulled it off without looking so terrible. Why is there a shadow when the light is past the camera? That makes no sense. Maybe I'm going to have to deal with a little bit of it in my eye. Yeah, there's still a slight shadow, but it's below the camera. Must be because the camera's zoom. Aha. But do I need to move it down? Is it going to come into frame? No. Let's see if I move it down even more. If it. All right, it's not in the photo. Oh, there's the shadow still. Ah, because of my overhead light. Now I get it. I've always thought the shadow came from my extra light, but it's actually my room light. So I probably just need to crank this one up and adjust the white balance where it's not washed out. Still got a little bit of a shadow from that overhead light. Oh well. I either have to get rid of my overhead light or deal with it, I guess. But anyway, I carried this all day and all night. Initial impressions was it needed to be oiled and there was a little too much pressure on the lock bar. I've got it tuned now to where it's perfect. But when I first initially reviewed it, it made a very scratchy noise from the detent ball on the blade, and it was just a little too much lock bar pressure. So all I did to fix it was pop out this lock bar insert and then flex the lock bar a couple times. Good morning, TC. Flex the lock bar a couple of times, and Then I put some oil on the detent ball and on the blade where it touches the detent ball, and that fixed it. No, Tommy, I answered you on the I commented, I replied to your post. It's not from that. I don't even know what that is. We talking aircraft this morning? Huh. I haven't been into aircraft much since I was a kid. I mean, I like aircraft, but I think I did a couple of models when I was a kid. And then in my back pocket, I had my new Tucson, which is, it's another one of those knives where if you looked up knife in the dictionary, or folding knife in the dictionary, you might get a picture close to this. Maybe not this big, because this thing is like 8.5 inches long, 8.25 inches long. But it is the TS 484. Super good value. You can get it for $72 on White Mountain Knives. It's a Wong design. Front flipper works good. And it's a big boy. It's another Tucson to add to the Tucson box, which reminds me, I left out a Tucson in the showcase the other day. And it was that crazy, that Tucson, one that Ed had, and I had to grab one of. Man, that thing stays oily in that bag. Morning, John. Getting all the oil wiped off this thing here. But it's this Tucson. And you can open it one-handed, but it is not very fun. And it is not very comfortable, regardless of what you do. It is not spaced properly. And it would be even worse for someone with smaller hands, I believe. In fact, there was a way I got it to feel more comfortable somehow, and I can't remember what that was. Wasn't that. It wasn't that. I think it, oh yeah. It was just putting this in your palm and holding it like this. But then I feel like the blade is almost ready to cut you before somebody else. So you really want to reverse it. When you reverse it, there's no real way to hold it. I don't know. Weird. Guess you could swing it like that. You could hold it back here, put one finger. Let's see. Ow! That about got stuck. Yeah, you could hold it like that, I guess. Yeah, I might need to do some strike tests to see how you could actually, because it's coming back at you. Before you know it, you're pointed at yourself. And I'm afraid if this got pushed on, it would come back, and if you don't let go, yeah, what Ed said. But it's a weird one. It doesn't live in a case because it won't fit in one of those cases. So it has been living in its box over by the Ashers with all my boxed knives. So it gets left out of the Tucson videos. All right. So here's the deal for today. As far as working on the fixed blade. And y'all already know it's not starting off well. That's me saying, here's the deal. I stayed up doing things yesterday till about 3 p.m. and decided I was going to lay down and take a little nap and then get up and work on the filing jig. Well, the next thing I know, I opened my eyes. It was after 9:30 p.m. and I could not get to Lowe's or Home Depot in time to get the other couple of things I needed, which really I have pretty much everything to do it except for some clamps and some and an eye bolt, or an extra eye bolt, a bigger eye bolt, sorry. So I was unable to get those things, so we're going to have to compromise and still work on the fixed blade. Robin, I just showed that, and you can, but it hurts your fingers. The spacing on it and the edges of those finger cups, even my big hands, if it was smaller, it would be even harder, but yeah, it hurts when you hold it like brass knuckles, and you would hurt yourself if you punch something with it. So yeah, you can go back a little bit on the video and see me putting it on my fingers. I don't know how you missed that part. Weird. I swear I showed it. So we are going to work on the fixed blade because there's other things we need to do besides just the blade grind, and we might take an extra day in the next couple of days and work on the blade grind. It's going to take 45 minutes per side. Well, it takes 45 minutes to do a whole entire flat grind across the whole blade. So maybe this will only take about 30 minutes per side. But we might need to break that up into a couple of videos anyway. So today we're going to work on getting the weight reduction done. So what I did during the night, the last couple of hours, is I took it apart and I punched a hole right where the lanyard goes to follow the pattern correctly. And I used a Sharpie and I marked where so I took a ruler and I lined a ruler up with these two holes that are already in the metal. And I counted, and it was around 43 millimeters between the holes. So I broke that down into thirds. Actually, I broke it down into half. It was 44. I broke it down to half, which was 22. And then I measured 11 millimeters both directions, and I made more marks for some holes. And then I took and I kind of freehanded some more holes. So here's what we got. Then I went to the drill press and I wanted to test out some cobalt bits that I have. And they went through this thing like it was butter. But as you can see now, this morning last night I drew a line across the middle between those and I measured it. Then I spaced those 3 holes out, tried to get them on that line where they lined up. And I've already drilled those 3 with a starter bit. So I had some smaller cobalt bits and I wanted to start out with some smaller ones. And then I marked off a bunch of other ones. And I don't know how big, I don't know how big I can go with these 3. But depending on how big I go with these 3, and I put a couple more back behind it here. And I also put that lanyard hole. So the lanyard hole needs to go through both the metal and the scales. Good morning, Christopher. So we're going to take and I moved my drill press in here to the other garage so we can drill some more holes. And we're going to drill the lanyard hole in the blade and in the scales. But yeah, man, non-hardened metal is way easier to drill in. I know that if this gap between these two holes was 11 millimeters, that I can't go above a 10 millimeter hole because they will touch. So, and a 10 millimeter hole was what I wanted to put for the lanyard. So we need to do something around 9 millimeters or the equivalent in imperial to make those holes as big as we can without them having a weak gap between them. Then after we get those drilled, I'll be able to see if we just need to put some more little ones in it or what we need to do. If I need to move these out and space them and put some bigger holes kind of spaced perfectly between the edge and these bigger holes, I don't know. But first we're going to get the lanyard hole drilled with this starter bit. Then we're going to take and change and put a 9 millimeter or equivalent bit and finish these holes out bigger. We will probably do the same with the lanyard hole, just because if I need it to be 10, I want to kind of sneak up on 10. Oh, thank you, mister. So the grids here, I kind of freehanded these to make them look like dice. I was thinking of each one of those as like a number 5 dice. So around that hole, there's number 5, and then around that hole, there's a number 5, and around that hole, there's a number 5. And I got pretty close by eye, and I tried to curve it with the blade too. And these two, I did the kind of the same thing. I just made a bigger 5. So I'm using 10 millimeter. I'm going to use brass tubing that is 10 millimeters outside diameter and 8 millimeters inside diameter, which means it'll have a full millimeter thickness that I can polish up. Ed suggested I do that. So it's going to be 10 millimeters outside and 8 on the inside. So the thing that you pass paracord through will be 8 millimeters. And I know it kind of sounds like the outside would be 2 millimeters but it wouldn't, because it's a millimeter on both sides. So if you go straight across, anyway, it's not 2 millimeters thick. It's only 1 millimeter thick, but that produces a 8 millimeter hole. So, I've been charging my phone in order to get it to where it would have enough battery to work out there. That knife I bought from LTK, hang it, the Doc Schiffer, the Recon, that's out for delivery today, so that'll be cool. He always ships to me fast from LTK. He comes from Florida. I guess that's where he lives, down there. Let me go get this camera set up real quick for the drill press in here. I've got all my bits and stuff in here. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. All right. That should be good. Let me check and see if I connected to the right computer with the KPL on those hinges. Yeah, it's a garage door, so it's out here in my music studio, so I guess I needed to not make noise even more so being in a studio. I don't care. I don't even hear things like that. That's pretty wild. I guess the microphone picks it up pretty thoroughly, huh? All right, I need to flip the camera. It's the first thing I need to do, so give me just a second. Get that brought up. Needs to be portrait instead of landscape. All right, we're good. I think we're going to stick with this setup. It's not loud. It's just the microphone works well. Nick said, WD-40 them fast. Stop opening and closing that door. Yeah, I guess some people are sound sensitive more than I am. I don't even hear them. Pretty wild to me that y'all even heard them. I guess y'all hear it every time I open and close it. Didn't make any noise now. At least after I get it broke in, I just makes a little high pitched noise now. Now y'all got a sound that I'm gonna hear instead of the one I didn't hear. But I did just WD-40 them. Like I said, this is not inside my house. It's outside of my garage. All right. So, I guess that looks like a good angle. I'll try to keep my hands out of the way on this side. Oh, wait, I got to move the little lever. So I got to think about the lever. I'll try to keep my hand out of the way when I'm moving the lever. Oh, John, I love it, buddy. I didn't see your question. Sorry. Y'all repeat your questions if I don't answer it. But yeah, I love it. It does fit my hands a lot better than I thought it would. Yeah, I can't. It's against a wall. So I can't put the camera on the other side of it, Nick. But John, you know how my hands are larger, and I was worried about the length. I can get 4 fingers on it good. It's got a major hot spot with that giant clip, though. So the clip sticks out further than anywhere else, and it's kind of big. But yesterday when I was talking about the thickness of the clip, making it slide in and out of the pocket easier, it is way better. It's way better than this one, and I tested them yesterday side by side, last night side by side. Well, I brought my drill press in from the outside garage, Nick, and I just set it on the deep freezer. I didn't really have a place in this garage to put it. Thank you, TC. Yeah, I got number 56. John, I don't know what number you'll get, but right there, 56, Magna Cut. And it was a little stiffer than I liked, but now, man, it's perfect. It's like hydraulic. One little shake makes a good noise too. I was trying to get y'all to hear it before my mic cuts out because I got that noise limiter. But yeah, it makes a great noise. All right, I'm going to switch to the phone, switch the mic in there, and I'll be in there in just a second. All right, I'm in here. Give me just a second. All right. So, the way I've been doing this, I put a piece of good flat wood to raise this up to where my drill bits would go through some thicker materials. Actually, when I was using my end mill here, I'm not sure where the middle of that camera is, but when I was using the end mill, it's a lot shorter than drill bits. So I had to raise it up a little bit in order to be able to go all the way through stuff. So that is why it is raised up like that. And then I've got it clamped down with 3 clamps here. Then I've been using these 2 clamps on either side. Let me get the chat brought up so I can see what y'all are saying. I got my other phone, my old phone here. So anyway, the way I line things up on this drill press, I'm sure each and every single one of you has no problem using a drill press, but if you haven't used one, clamps are a good way to kind of guide yourself in and get yourself lined up. And let me find my video here. View channel is live. All right. Now I can see the live chat over here to my side. Hopefully my screen doesn't cut off every 5 seconds. So anyway, the way I get a good, stable, and centered hole is I use the drill bit to kind of guide yourself, and then I keep pressure held down by the tip of the drill bit, and when I get where I'm close, I try to look at it from both sides to see if I'm lined up where I want to be, and that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to take my clamp. I'm going to see it just rotated, but it spun in place. That was a good example where I was keeping pressure. And after you get the clamps, like not all the way cinched down, you still can move it just a little bit to fix your placement. All right, that's exactly where I want to be. It's moving a little too much for me. Hopefully I can get this clamp. Nope. Maybe. Yeah, I can get it right there. Oh, no. There we go. I caught it enough to keep it from moving. I'm going to go ahead and get that one, make sure it's down. Then we're going to put the lanyard, and this lid is vibrating. That's where the noise is from. But watch how easily it goes through this metal. Try to keep my hands out of the way here. And I do have some oil, but these bits go through this so easily that I'm not going to use any oil yet. Yeah, this lid is vibrating. So that got our lanyard starter hole done. Right there, you can see it. I guess I got to follow from like here up towards the camera. I don't know if that's in the middle. Didn't even get very hot. It went through it so easily. All right, so we got our starter holes. See what y'all are saying in chat. The Tri-Stash drops today. All right. So we got that starter hole. Now we need to go up in size to the 9mm. Can someone look up what the imperial equivalent to 9mm is? Paste it in the chat. Like, what's the closest imperial bit? Because I've got some bits and taps right here that I could possibly use if one of those is close. So, how close is a 1/4 inch to 9mm? And then how close is 19/64 to 9mm? 19/64. Check that for me. If y'all can hear me. I'm going to grab. Yeah, I need it. 0.35 is not, so a third, that's not an imperial drill bit size. Give me an imperial drill bit size, Dan Stan. Do a 9mm to imperial fraction inch. I'm going to grab my coffee. I was in there trying to ask Google what the closest inch fraction is to 9mm. 3/8. What did I say? 19/64? What is a 19/64 in millimeters? What is 19/64 inch to millimeter? 19/64 is 7.5 millimeters exactly. Okay, so the holes are going to be bigger than this biggest drill bit here. Well, that's cool. So what is 3/8 exactly? I know you said it's close, but dang it, what happened to this stupid box? What's going on with the box? The box won't close now. I'll worry about that later. Got some other drill bits over here, so let's see what else I got. Y'all let me know what 3/8 is exactly. Nick, 9.58. That's what 3/8 is. I think that might work. Let me see if I got one first. Well, I don't have one out right here. Let me go. I thought that was a different drill kit. Y'all hang on and talk to each other. I'll be right back. 11/32 is 8.7. All right, thank you, Nick. 11/32. That's a weird. I don't even think they make that drill bit. How big is 5/16? How big is 5/16, Nick? 6/16 would be 3/8, but what is 5/16? What's 5/16, Nick? I think 5/16 might be good, maybe. Let me see here. I had it open. What is 5/16 inch to millimeter? 7.9. 7.95, 5/16 is. So instead of me having to leave, let's try and see what one looks like. I can always make it bigger if I need to. That's 8mm hole instead of. Looks pretty big to me. That's why I want to try it. We might have to remove this piece of wood too to get these bigger holes, but we'll see. Might not be able to get this drill bit in here. Yeah, definitely not going to be able to. Can't get enough of an angle on it. All right, well, since we've already got those holes in there, we can move this piece of wood. If I can get this drill bit in there. Let me get a towel so I can wipe that off. Working at a hotel gives you an endless supply of towels. You couldn't imagine how many towels hotels have to throw away when they just get a little yellowed or discolored. You have to give your guests pretty much brand new looking towels. So I have got washcloths galore because we got to throw them away or do something with them anyway. All right. Now I can get that bit up in there. Good grief. Maybe. Where there's a will, there's a way. But can I even get the scale under there? Wow. I have to lower my bed. I have not used this drill press very much, so this has not come into play much. Let's see if I can even get under there. Yep. Wow. It's pretty close though. All right. Same with doing this. And I want to make sure that I don't widen up my holes that I put the knife together with. So if you just kind of lightly apply pressure, you can kind of find the middle of that. You can kind of eyeball it, and it'll kind of start guiding itself in if you leave it a little loose. So we're going to get it in that hole. And then I'm going to clamp it just loosely. And then as I begin to drill, I'm going to reclamp it after I get it kind of seated. It'll kind of move itself to the middle of that hole right there. So now I'm going to clamp down. It just moved itself to the middle of that hole. So now I'm going to really, well, y'all can't see very good if I do it like that. Let me come in from here. Oh, that moved it. It's not a total precision thing, but I was trying to be good. I actually think it pulled it a little too far. I'm going to readjust here by eye. I think it moved it a little too much. So I think it needs to be right there. Ah, goodness. I have to leave it loose and get it again. All right, that's right in the middle. That direction. That's right in the middle of that direction. Wow, that moved a lot. But actually we're still pretty good. Maybe it was just tilted. I don't know. We're going to go through this time. Try to. That's a lovely noise, huh? That's a great noise, huh? All right, 1 down, 2 to go, 3 to go. Let me take a look at this one. Wipe off all the shavings. Yeah, it's there. Not perfectly in line with those two. So I need to do a little better on the next one. But I think it's going to be a good size for those 3 middle ones. Let me try to align this one a little better. Now I need to keep it kind of in line with the other one. I'm already sweating. Not very hot around it either. I'm going to do this side first. That's the one that seemed to make it move. All right, that looks pretty good. Actually, that looks pretty good too. We're going to go right there with this one. And it's our first knife. It can have a little character by being a little off. I'm not a perfectionist. I try to get the best I can, but I'm going to put a little bit of oil. I've got some, I hit the drill bit. Scared me more than anything. I'm going to put a little oil just because. It'll probably start smoking. All right. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go any bigger than that, honestly, because the gap between the, I haven't looked at chat in a minute, y'all have to give me a second, but the gap between those two, that one is lined up better by eye. First one is just a little low down this way, but it's in the general vicinity. But that gap between those, I don't want my gaps to be any bigger than that, really. And I could have moved it over, but I didn't know how much of a gap I was preparing for, and I knew I just wanted to get them lined up, so. All right, let's do this one. Get it side to side this direction. Wow. Wow. Pretty much the first placement I placed it where I need it. Cannot get much of that corner. I applied pressure the whole time so it wouldn't move away. Yeah, that looks good on that one. All right, let's get this third one done. Make sure to use eye protection. Yeah, make sure to use eye protection for sure. Oh my goodness. Well, that's no good. We just made our first mistake of the knife, and I bet y'all were telling me in chat. I drilled the wrong hole. That's awesome. Measure twice, cut once. So yeah, I just drilled the wrong hole. Y'all didn't mention it. Y'all didn't see it. I didn't see it. Oh well. I can fix it. Because the scales themselves, the holes on the scales are still right for the screws I'm using. So I can make some kind of plug to put in there. The screws will still tighten up and hold. I'll find a way to get a little circle to go in there. That was great. That was good. So I drilled out one of the holes I didn't need to drill. I should have marked them with red, like do not drill. And I was like, no, I'm just drilling 3. That won't be a problem. So I lined up on the wrong hole. No wonder it went perfect. I can always just change the size of the tubes too that connect them. But I didn't want to have to do that. And I still don't want to have to do that. So I'll figure out how to fix that with some epoxy or... So yeah, I messed up. Alright, I was wanting to change the scales eventually anyway from that Tiffany blue. I know y'all know Tiffany blue is not my color. I was trying to stick to the package deal, but I would prefer anything but Tiffany blue. Alright, might as well go ahead and put this other hole in. So, that really sucks. I was thinking I probably will use some kind of glue, like a hot glue or something, besides just bolts to screw it together. But let's go look at how bad our problem is. I can definitely fix it. I can actually take a nut and sand it down until it fits into that hole. That's the same threads as that. I could actually fix it completely. It'll give us a chance to learn how to fix mistakes. My channel is not about being perfect. It's about figuring out how to do things you don't know how to do, whatever that takes. And making mistakes is part of it. Anyway, I'm going to go back in here for a minute. So I don't claim to ever be perfect. And you shouldn't either. All right, so yeah, I'm super mad at myself. But will I get over it? Yes, I will. Because I'll figure out a way to fix it. So right now, I needed the hole to be that big, and it's that big. So I can take a nut that has a hole the same size as this and sand it down until it fits into that hole perfectly. But like I said, these bolts fit in the scales, so they really can't move regardless of how big these holes are, because they're attached to each other. Actually, they'll be able to slide back and forth now, huh? Yep, the back part will be able to slide. Let's see what it actually caused as far as movement. And I should epoxy them anyway and just kind of consider the knife done, but you know me, I want to fix that hole now. It's all about trying to do things on camera. I would have been by myself. I'd have been like, okay, you're just doing 3 holes and then the lanyard hole. But no. Chip had to go and screw up on live TV, which is perfectly okay with me. I screw up regular life, so why not screw up in live? All right, so that's not going to wiggle. But this back one is probably going to slide back and forth now. Even though well, no, it doesn't. Why doesn't it really slide? Shouldn't it slide back and forth a little bit? Huh. Well, it wasn't as bad of a screw up as I imagined, I guess. But I can try to figure out something to fill that hole with, whether it's, I could take another of the piece of metal that I cut off. Hey, why don't I do that? I've still got the scraps. I kept everything from this knife build. So why don't I try to use that little belt sander and make a little piece of metal that fits perfectly in that hole, and then drill a hole in it the size I need. So let me go see. Hold on. See if I got a piece big enough. Give me just a second. So luckily I keep everything. And I was able to keep this, which are the big chunks that I cut off. And this triangle that I kept will work perfectly. Wow. So I kept one of the corners that I cut off. So I have the piece of the corner that I cut off. I can make it fit down in that hole perfectly, and it'll be the perfect width. And then I can drill that size hole into this piece. Actually, I need to drill this size hole into this piece before I do anything. And then I need to sand it off until it's round and will fit down in there. I'll cut it and get it closer before I work on sanding it. That'll be a fun little task to do on the side to mend my repairs. But I'll make a little plug that goes in there that has this size hole in it. Pete's trying to send me a message. What did he say? Oh, thank you, Pete. I messed up though. I drilled out this hole and I wasn't supposed to. Yeah, since that'll work perfect. This is the same exact stock. It's the same thickness. I'll just drill this hole in there and then sand it down until it fits down in there. And even if it's not perfect in that hole, it'll be touching on a bunch of sides. It'll be a lot sturdier than without it. I'll use some JB weld or something to get it stuck in there. Yeah, so let's go back. I just wanted to check it out before I finished the lanyard hole. But I'm cool with the alignment of it so far. It's not bad. Pretty good. I can't get those same size holes. Okay, so now what I think I want to do is I want to remove the holes that I put, the marks that I put for those other holes, except for the lanyard hole. These other ones, I want to knock those off. And then I want to look at the spacing between the edge of the knife and these holes and see where a center point is. Like somewhere, actually more this way. Somewhere right in there would be a better place to put a hole. I need it actually to go a little bit closer this way. Let me wipe that off and try again. I'm not a perfectionist, but I like getting things right. All right. So I need this one to be about right here. And then I could put one right here. All right. And then I could put one right here. And I could put one right here. All right. And I could actually put ones between here and here too. Like right there. And right there. And right now this hole is going to be, it's still going to be centered right there. So that's cool. The center of that will be right there. But the gap will be a little bigger. About right there and about right there. So I could put 8 more of the little holes that I had in that with that cobalt bit that went right through. And now I know that I can use, yeah, getting the hole in this, clamping this down is going to be the hardest part. Nick, I beg to differ. I can hold it and use my Dremel. What I'll do, Nick? Oh, I can wait to drill the hole till after it's in the knife. So what I'll do, Nick, is I'll just hold it in these vice grips right here and turn on my Dremel. And shape it up. And I've only got to worry about working on one side at a time, on one half at a time. But I can actually hold it with this and use my belt sander over there to get these corners off. Oh, I'll be careful. I'll be holding it like this and rounding it out. Yeah, that's why you add an extension arm onto anything you can. Well, that's why I do it. I try to keep stuff away. And I'll just steady up on something and like hold my hand against something so I'm really sturdy. Yeah, man. I'll be able to get it. It'll be something I can sit around at work and do too. That will waste some time away and won't take away from anything else I'm doing. So yeah, I'll get it close to the right size. I'll plug it in there, and then I'll set this whole thing in the drill press with the scale attached to the front one, so my holes line up, and then I'll drill my hole back through, going through the scale to line it up for me. And it'll go through wherever it needs to on that little chunk of metal. All right. I'm going to go finish the lanyard hole because I know it's got to be that big anyway. And then I might think about doing these other 8 with that other smaller bit. I'm going to switch back to the phone. How long have we been going? 59 minutes. All right, we're doing good. Going back to the phone and to the phone microphone. Give me just a second. I need my coffee. Can I take it back in there with me? Yep. Hold on. My coffee and a breeze. Need a fan also. Getting kind of hot. Man, that door doesn't, the hinges don't make no noise now. Opening and closing it does, but. Alright, let me get a sip of coffee. Luckily I had my Yeti closed when I was shedding all that metal. Alright, I'm going to set it up out of the way where it doesn't get metal shavings on it. This is going to be another fun one to get clamped, but let's see. Let me come in from the end first. Get it lined up by sight first. That right there looks pretty close. Can't reach it from here. And get a hold of it from right there. Wow, that moved a little. Yep. Yep, that moved a little. Hold on. All right, that's better that way. Needs to go. That looks pretty good right there. Get that one cranked on down. Let's get this lanyard hole in. I can get a 10mm lined up with this. We were definitely getting some vibrating going on there. This front is not clamped enough. I don't have enough pressure with that little corner of that clamp, so it was vibrating a little. But I got it in there good. Let's see. Alright. We got those in. That one's a little warm this time. I might put a little oil on it next time, but I knew when it was making that noise. Of course, that bit has already gone through. Not as sharp as it started out being. That's all I'll say. I'm out here in bare feet too. Don't ever do stuff like this barefooted when you've got metal shavings flinging around, because you'll step on one and it'll get embedded into your foot. And you will not have a good time. So do not follow what I do. But pick up whatever good things you see. Leave the bad ones, like messing up. Dropping drill bits on the floor. Alright, let's put this little bit back in. Just put a few more little weight reduction holes in it. I mean, what the heck? Ain't gonna hurt nothing, right? We're out here. We're definitely not getting the drill bits straight. We weren't. We are now. Might need to put my wood block back on. I think I'm going to, just for all around stability and clamping of stuff. I used to could use that hole as kind of my guide point. That was handy too. Let's see. I'll get that back as close as I can. About right there. put these other little clamps on this part. These little clamps, not the best. These little cheap Harbor Freight clamps. But they are working, kind of. That's why I have two of them to this one. All right. Now we're lined up again. And this one the drill bit is about the same size as the dot, so and I can kind of use my eyes. Like I said, with this one I can hold down on it long enough to get it clamped. That drill bit itself, do a little poking, holding stuff in place. All right, I don't know if my arm was just in the way. Don't really care. I had to do it to feel confident in what I'm doing, so I will get moved out of the way eventually. All right, measure twice, cut once. I like that placement. This bit made some super cool shavings earlier. It made some of those spiral ones that look perfect, you know. It went all the way, like, it made some really good cuts earlier. That's a good way to knock all the metal chips off of it. At least it landed on carpet. All right, next. And I can use that hole, like I said, to get started and get close. About right there. Hold on, I'm still applying pressure to hold it in place while I get it clamped here. All right. Measure twice, cut once. I like it. We're going with it. Sorry guys, I know I'm probably in the way. Let me try. Alright. I'm going to alternate around. Do two on the other side. Super cool. I'm cool with those so far though. Those look really good and lined up where I wanted them. Let's do the same with these two. How about that? Do not drill your other hole screw out, Chip. That looks good right there. Give me just a second, guys, and I will check the chat. I still didn't see, all I saw was Pete saying it looked good so far. You were asking me something, Pete. Sorry, I didn't see that. Get my hands out of the way again. I've got a 10-pack of these bits. These cheap cobalt drill bits from Owl Tools. So I'm not worried about dulling them up or throwing one away. Any such thing. All right. Last one right now. We're going to take a break. Have a cigarette. See how the alignment looks so far. That one needs to go back towards the middle just a little. I think I like that. Let's try that right there. Sorry again if y'all can't see as good as possible, but I'm trying to show what I can. See where I'm at. I like that alignment. And I like that alignment. Alright, put my hands up here again. Can't believe I messed up like that. Such an easy thing to not do. I'll eventually get over it. I mean, it doesn't like bother me to the core. It's just a stupid mistake that could have been avoided. All right, let's go check out what we got. All right, guys. So I just did those. I can do the rest off camera. And now that I've got those holes made, so the alignment on them, pretty good. They're pretty much between the other two holes, this way, and the width. They're pretty much between the two big holes, side to side, to the outside of the scales. So I did 2 on each end here. I still got to do those 2 and those 2. But I can use all the other ones now to kind of line stuff up. I can use these to line it up along this curve. And I can use these to line it up along this curve. And I can use them back and forth to kind of line them up straight across. I'm cool with it so far. I knew it would take longer to do these things than I was thinking about. I need to get a deburr tool still, but I did make sure to go through a few times. There's not much burrs, not too many burrs. But I think I'll be cool with that pattern after I get those 4 more holes in there. And I can make these bigger if I decide to. They do have plenty of meat around them. So, what do y'all got going on as far as ideas, or what have y'all been talking about while I've been gone? Let me grab my coffee again. I'll be right back. The door is a lot quieter. I'll pay attention to how I close it. You have to kind of slam it. So I got used to that. Put a locating pin? Yeah, I could do that, huh? Yeah, I can't I could put a pin back here between the I could put a pin back here between the lanyard hole and this last hole that pinned into the scales on both sides. All I gotta do is put it all the way through here and just cut my pin a little longer on both sides and then go into both sides of the scales. That would work perfect. Good idea, guys. I hadn't had time to sit around and think about what I could do. But yeah, all I got to do is drill a hole all the way through here with the pin size that I've got with some stock of some kind of little extra pin I've got from a knife that will be long enough to go all the way through this, and then just barely go into each side of the scales, and it'll hook in and pin itself into place. Because I've got these countersunk, so the tightness of this will hold the scales on the knife, like the tightness tightening down these two. I can put a T8 on both sides and get these cranked down, and they'll seat down in there. They'll actually push down into the G10, but yeah, man, do my holes not look bad, guys? Do my holes look okay for freehanding them? Give me a little positive feedback so I don't feel so bad. I'm not begging for compliments, but do they look decent? Are some of them off? Let me know if they're off looking. I'll try to adjust. If y'all don't mind hitting that like button, it'd be awesome. I've decided, since I've got a leather sewing kit, we're going to try to make a leather sheath for this thing too. As part of the ending Thursdays after we get the knife done. We're going to try to hand sew, and I've got access to a sewing machine, but that won't help much with leather. But I've got a punch. I've got all kinds of stuff. We ought to be able to make us a sheath. Well, thank you, mister. I will post pictures on the Discord when I get these other 4 holes drilled in. Y'all can give me some feedback. And y'all know I'm going to work to try to make that fit perfect while I'm sitting at work. Like, y'all wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow morning I come in and I've got it wire EDM'd in there so good you can't even see the hole. John, I'm not dyeing the G10. I'm leaving it Tiffany blue. Because that's what the challenge kit is with the Pops Pro Cut. And I decided if I want to go and make some other handles for it, that they will be removable, and it would be fun to shape some different ones. But I found I'm going to leave them Tiffany blue. But what I am going to do, I think I streamed the live yesterday at 4K. So my stupid USB port did that thing again where it just randomly unplugs my Wi-Fi adapter, and it just takes a few seconds to reconnect. So I apologize for that. That wasn't me, but it did go out for a second. So I plan on getting some cool scales. So they've got some really cool material. Well, get the internet to work. What happened there? What in the world? Why is it not loading up? Anyway, they got some pretty nice G10 slabs that you can get now. So I would like something cool eventually. And who knows, I might move on to one of those other blade shapes and leave this one blue. Might buy another $17 kit and try it again. But you can get some of these little slabs for pretty cheap. And they look way better than the Tiffany blue. I mean, Tiffany blue, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess. Better than sprinkles or whatever that is. That's supposed to be a kind of a copy to one. Let's see what else they got. Oh, I know they have some super cool wooden ones. They have some really cool ones that we can make out of wood. Golden sandalwood. They have some of those exotic woods over there that we don't even have. The Asian, we got some Asian trees that we don't get. See if I can find some more. Yeah, they've got all the different patterns, but I mean, where do you think they come from originally? Like over here. That second page didn't show much good. I saw some. Let me just type wood instead of wooden, because I found some darker ones that were pretty cool. They had that gray. Let's see. Let's just go to the store. This one is Knife Solver store. There's some weird ones. You can get carbon fiber too. I don't like carbon fiber, but let's go to this store and see what they got. Let's see, products. Because I know my one store will have stuff. Let me find that store that I'm looking for. Might be this one. Can't ever remember it. No, knife material store. Try this one. Can't remember the name of that store. It's called I've told y'all the name of it before. Now I can't even remember it. Ling Ling store. That is not it. Try this one. Knife Solver store. That one seems to have a bunch. Let's go. I mean, that looks pretty good on a fixed blade, but you can see what they look like in those pictures there. What is the name of that store? Let me go check the chat, see if y'all. Does it really look white on camera? That's got to be your screen, buddy. They look kind of green here. Let me get the actual color for you. If my TV is decent. That is more of the color in real life. That looks pretty good on my screen. I don't know what color, but those look white. I hope they don't look white, because that means everything I've got is out of whack. What is the Ty-Seek? Ty-Seek. That's the name of the best knife parts on AliExpress. The Ty-Seek store. This store right here, Ty-Seek. He's been doing it a while, and he's got categories of knife parts. And his store is closed down? That's got to be the wrong link. Because you can see all this stuff. Like, why is it not loading up right? I mean, dang. You can see all the products he's got, but yet when you go to his page, it doesn't load up right. That link didn't work. Let's try this one. Yeah, it's not working. Oh wait, there it goes. All right. 1911 grips out the yin yang. Yeah, here we go. Some of the resin ones might look kind of cool. Even that red doesn't look good in that picture. Those look kind of cheap to me. That blue one didn't look bad. Let's see what else they got though. Square pattern resin material. That textured one. Snake pattern. That's pretty wild. What does that look like on a knife? I don't have any. Do y'all like that snake pattern stuff? This stuff? Hexagons are the bestigons. Yeah, hexagons are the bestigons. I like those. So see, I could make some new handles for it pretty easy. There's the copper foil patterns. Yeah, like I said, where do you think they all come from? Unless they're made by fat carbon. Let's see what else we got. I want to look at those ones, those textured ones, before we go, though. And I'll show you all the, what happened there. I want to look at these down here real quick, see what's going on with this texture. Yeah, they don't have many good colors with that, but I don't know what's going on with that texture. Huh. That's definitely weird. See what else. Yeah, I agree. 1911's C-Tech honeycomb. Thank you, mister. That's why bees use it, right? If it's used in nature, it's got to be good, right? Why is this link not opening? I wanted to see these. Pretty wild colored ones. Oh, it's all the same one. You just buy multiples of it. Yeah, that's pretty weird looking. Hexagons are the bestigons. They do have the skiff-like bearings for $13 for ZT knives and some Hinderer knives. Hinderer. What does some of this look like? Oh, that's just the cheap paper micarta. Cheap micarta. We're back at the first page again. Let's go to page 3. There's different woods right there. That green wood looks pretty good. See what else we got. You should be able to click over here to the left. Do-it-yourself wood materials. Yeah, there we go. So there's some of the darker ones that I saw that I kind of liked. Black, the sandalwood. Yeah. But he had something else. Maybe it's these. Had something else that looked like some super cool looking woods. Yeah, like some of this wood. Let's see. I like that one up there in the top. Can't read Chinese. But I think it's the second one up right here. See if we can find it in an individual picture. Might be that one, but what I was seeing, I like that one better. I can't tell by looking at them. I mean, seeing this way, you get to see the grain structure, what it would look like on the handle. Anyway, we got a lot of choices we can pick from. Let's see. Do-it-yourself material for knife. So here's that's the copper bar rod. That's not what I need. I could probably try to modify one of those or use one of those, but I want to make one. Yeah, I'm not seeing that's why I don't use this breakdown over here, that list on the left, because I don't know what category all the synthetic stuff's in. It doesn't show up in a list here. Part for knife? No. But brass tubing 10mm OD. So yeah, I'm just gonna buy a piece of outside 10, inside 8. Let's see. Yeah, outside 10, inside 8, one piece, 99 cents. There we go. Brass tubing, welcome deal. It will be $200mm long, which will be plenty. I could get a 500mm piece. Yeah, I'll get a 500mm piece. So I'll have extra. Morning, Fred. So yeah, they're blue, Tiffany blue right now. We messed up. We can fix it. Holes are looking good though. Turn the light back on. I'm gonna go drill these other 4 holes real quick and post a picture on the Discord. I'm gonna find a 10mm bit, but actually that one that was 9, there's an Imperial bit that will fit that's a little undersized. I'd rather it be a little undersized and I have to fix it and get that pin really in there tight. Can't believe I messed up. I can get my little plug piece made out of this. And I'll get over here on the belt sander and get it real close, real quick. You can believe that. I will get these corners knocked off and get it more round right after I finish drilling these holes. Love the Asgard. Y'all missed out on it. I would suggest, if you like it, to grab one because it is great. Let me fix this light a little better. It was down too low. It still is, kind of. Have to fix it after the stream, but that's a little better. I think they still look pretty much blue, but let me change the yellow. Let me put more yellow back in it. If I put all yellow, it makes it that color. If I put all white, it makes it that color. So the all white actually looks pretty good, huh? Can you see the color in that now? Let me see if I can adjust one more thing to get the color a little better. Let me drop the exposure down like 640 looked pretty good on that. That looks pretty good. That look Tiffany blue? It looks blue on my screen. All right. Anyway, guys, appreciate you being here today. Tomorrow is Friday. Second best day of the week. We will talk about new drops. I like my two from yesterday. That one. And this one. This thing is a beast. It's not super wide though, so you can see it next to the 8010. It's kind of narrow. So it fits the hand pretty good. And even people with smaller hands could hang on to it. They might feel like they're holding a shovel or something, like a baseball bat. But, because I can get my 4 fingers started right there. And I'm not off the knife. You can really swing this thing. Choppity chop. Perfect action on it too, though. Mr. Robin, hope you have a good Thursday, sir. If y'all haven't watched the unboxing of the Asgard, you should go do that and leave me a comment on it. Help that algorithm. I am upset about this, but it is what it is. That locating pin back here between there will be good. I'll get it. It'll be something else that I can learn how to do, how to put a locating pin in. Thank you, Mr. John. But yeah, appreciate y'all supporting me and not laughing at me when I mess up. I hope it shows that, you know, we're all human. And it's just figuring out how to deal with mistakes. Oh, thank you, Pete. Thanks, Michael. I'm not, at least I didn't put a big crazy out of place hole. At least they're lined up. You're going to mess up in style. That's what I say. Anyway, guys, love y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a great Thursday. Wow, my quick trigger finger cut off the piece. Let me try again. Peace.